This recording demonstrates how to submit initial prior authorization requests, as well as requests for extensions for special needs inpatient nursing facility care for the Nebraska Medicaid population. For facilities with existing patients, enter the first recertification request as an initial request, and do this by clicking New Request in the upper right corner of your authorizations dashboard. There are 3 tabs at the top of the page, and the Request tab is currently highlighted. If your account is associated with multiple practices, you will need to select the correct practice from the practice drop-down list. Attach a patient to this request by clicking Find Patient. The system has specific search requirements. You will always need to enter a date of birth in combination with either a member ID number or the patient's first and last name. Click Search to display a list of patients meeting your search criteria and select the correct one. If you selected the incorrect patient, click Change Patient to reopen the search box so you can do your search again. The patient's health plan populates, and this is hyperlinked so you can view plan information in a separate PDF window. Select Inpatient for the type of service. Enter the starting date and ending date, and the system will calculate the number of days based on the date range you selected. Now select whether you are the ordering provider requesting the service, the servicing provider who will be providing the service, or both. And this helps to narrow down your search results. Click Find Ordering Provider. Because I selected myself as the ordering provider, all I have to do is click Search, and only providers associated with my tax ID number will populate. Click anywhere on the line showing provider information to add the provider to this request. For servicing providers, do the same. Click Find Servicing Provider and use any search field. The more information that you enter will give you more narrow results. Click anywhere on the line showing provider information to add the provider to this request. If you have chosen the incorrect provider, click the Change Provider links to reopen the provider search fields. Select the special needs category for this request. Select your place of service, which uses the CMS Inpatient Places of Service. Request severity always defaults to standard, so if this is an expedited request, you will need to manually change this. Treatment type will either be medical, surgical, or mental health. Now choose the correct level of care. For example, acute, pediatric special needs. Then click Save and Continue. This automatically saves the request as a draft and opens into the clinical section where you can enter diagnoses, procedures, upload documents, and enter free text notes. And you can see that tab is now highlighted at the top of the page. Enter a diagnosis either by typing the description or by entering the ICD code but without the decimal. When adding multiple diagnoses, the system will default the first diagnosis you enter as the primary diagnosis. To indicate a different diagnosis as primary, click the radio button to the left of it. To remove a diagnosis, click the X to the right of it, and this inserts a strike through the diagnosis. As long as you're still on this clinical tab, you have the ability to undo this in the event you need to add this back. Enter any procedures the same way, either by description or by the medical code. When entering inpatient procedures, the start date defaults to the date of admission that you entered on the request page, but this can be changed if the procedure or service will occur on a different date. Primary and remove work the same as they did for diagnoses. Click Choose File to upload a document from your computer. In the free text box, enter a note saying that this is a recertification and the patient is currently in the facility. Once complete with all information under this clinical tab, click Save and Continue to move to the third section. Just pointing out here that the request is still not complete. This is still a draft, and no one else can see this request. Review the summary page for accuracy, then click Submit in the lower left corner to send the request to the reviewers. If you do notice something that you need to edit, You can click Request or Clinical tabs to make your changes, but remember to click Save and Continue or the system will not recognize those changes. Once you click Submit, you now have a case number and the status of the request is in progress. You can return to your dashboard either by clicking Return to Dashboard on the Summary page or by clicking Authorizations in the top menu. And pending requests are seen under the Submitted tab of your Authorizations dashboard. There are two ways to request an extension on a previously approved authorization. Under the Completed tab of your Authorizations dashboard, click the plus sign to the left of the completed request. Information from the previous request will populate. Enter the new end date or the new potential discharge date under the Request tab. Under Clinical, update any diagnoses and procedures, and upload new attachments or enter your free text notes. Then click Save and Continue at the bottom of the screen to move to the third section. Review this summary page for accuracy and click Submit in the lower left corner. Access a case by clicking it. Then select Request Extension from the Actions tab in the top right corner. Information from the previous request will populate. Enter the new end date or the new potential discharge date under the Request tab. Under Clinical, update any diagnoses and procedures, and upload any new attachments or enter your free text notes. Click Save and Continue at the bottom of the screen to move to the third section. Under the Finalize tab, review the summary page for accuracy, then click Submit in the lower left corner.